Helldivers 2 made the move all of us Halo players were hoping for, adding a Halo-themed Warbond. When Helldivers was announced to be coming to Xbox, I was immediately excited. Then on top of it, it was announced that there would be a Halo Warbond coming with it. So my excitement for the game went from about a 10 out of 10 to an infinity out of 10. So naturally, the first thing I did with Helldivers was grind it so I could grab the new Halo Warbond and get everything inside of it. Now after a while of finding free time to play the game and gathering all of the items I needed for it, I gathered all the weapons in the Warbond. With that, I wanted to give a bit of a review and give my honest opinions on the Warbond as a longtime Halo fan and as a newcoming Helldivers fan. I will caveat this by saying that this is the only Warbond I have outside of the Helldivers Mobilize Warbond, which is the free one, so I don't have much to compare this to. However, from my experience playing the game so far, I have acquired some sense of what is good and what isn't good in the game, as well as some of the other Warbonds and the weapons and stratagems they have that are considered good. So with that, I'll be testing out each of the weapons against various factions in the game, as well as at varying difficulties to get an accurate representation of how the weapons perform. So for testing purposes, I will start by using all of the weapons at difficulty 6 or the extreme difficulty. Then after testing on this difficulty, I will move it up to 8 or impossible. Since I'm not a pro and I'm still a little bit new to the game, I didn't want to try super Helldive quite yet, as I would be doing this with just me and my girlfriend, and I'm also not quite a pro at this game, especially since I don't have all of the stratagems and weapons available to me. My girlfriend will mostly be doing her own thing on the side though. I'll be judging the weapons based off of a few factors. Number 1. The performance of the weapon against the various factions, as well as the enemies within those factions. Number 2, the lore accuracy from the Halo games. And number 3, fun factor, which honestly I think is the most important part. I'll also be using other stratagems, but I'll be trying to use the weapon I'm testing as much as I possibly can throughout the matches. Anyways, up first, I tried the shotgun. We fought the bugs first as well. The shotgun was done almost completely accurate to Halo, except for one thing, which I'll get to later. The design is spot on, the sound design is also alright. I was hoping for it to sound a bit more robust than it currently does.
Yo, your drone loves to zap me. Don't get in its way. Ow.
It performed well for the most part at difficulty 6 against the bugs. Most bugs went down quickly at close to medium range in about 1 to 2 shots. I was also pleasantly surprised at the range of the weapon has, as sometimes I would be able to one-shot a Seeker from a rather long distance by shotgun standards anyways, which I felt was a nice touch, as when you compare it to other games like Call of Duty, the game seems to think that shotguns are only effective if the target is right in front of you. The ammo capacity is pretty spot on when you compare it to Halo 3, as Helldivers gives you 44 shots in total, which is a bit more than Halo 3, which gives you 36, I believe. 6 rounds in the tube was also pretty spot on. The issue that arrived for me was the armor penetration. Any bug that had even a little bit of armor posed a serious threat against the shotgun, since for some reason the shotgun is considered light armor penetration. This was my biggest gripe, as it doesn't make gameplay sense or lore sense for this to be the case. Starting with the lore side, in case you didn't know, in the Halo universe, the shotgun uses 8-gauge shells, which were used as a way to combat the advanced defenses of the Covenant and other enemies. Meaning in Halo, this shotgun hits like an absolute truck in short to medium range, one-shotting or two-shotting multiple enemies. Which is why I assume the shotgun would probably be medium armor penetration in Helldivers. So it was a bit of a disappointment there for me. From the gameplay side, the shotgun has one of the lowest, if not the lowest, tube/magazine sizes in the game at 6 shots, compared to other weapons in the category that have about 16, with 44 rounds total as I mentioned before. I feel those stats alone should justify a medium armor penetration to make up for the lower ammo count and the lower mag size. Not to mention going from the Halo games where you can one-tap most things up close with a shotgun, like Elites or Brutes, and then going into Helldivers where I can't even take out a slightly armored bug up close. It kills any semblance of this weapon being fun to use on higher difficulties outside of just using it for fun. The damage was good, however up close against bigger bugs with no armor, the shotgun absolutely shredded them. The animations in both first person and third person were also well done and more accurate than I expected. So overall, I'd say the shotgun was done well for the most part, outside of needing a buff to its armor penetration. I'll give my ranking on all of the weapons at the end of the video as well.
That was a lot of
By
bugs.
Gemini and Google Chrome, no fucking thank you, Microsoft.
Fuck Microsoft.
Next up was the famous suppressed SMG. We kept with the bugs for now, but I would use this against multiple other factions as I promised. The SMG was done almost perfectly from my time testing it. Its ammo capacity was spot on from the games, the damage was overall pretty accurate both to Helldivers and Halo standards. Not being able to carry 8 magazines instead of the current 7 was a little interesting, but it didn't ruin the experience or anything. The gun being light armor penetration also makes sense, as in Halo it was meant to be a weapon that sort of weakens enemies more than actually taking them out. Also, combined with the fact that it's an SMG, so it's shooting lower caliber bullets, it makes sense compared to something like the assault rifle or the shotgun.
Trying to get that spore spewer, but it's a little too far. Oh, no, you got it.
I also love the fact that the weapon counts as a one-handed weapon, meaning you can carry objectives like the black box and still be able to use the weapon normally. I felt this was a bit of a nod to the dual wielding from Halo, as well as it just made sense in the Helldivers mechanics. The low recoil also made the weapon a blast to use, not only against the bugs, but the bots and squids later on. The weapon was borderline useless against bigger enemies like Chargers, Bile Titans, but that's kind of understandable given its weapon type. The sound design was also good in its own right.
Good porn.
I feel it was close to what Halo had, while still giving its own unique sound that carried the same aesthetic. So overall, I was pretty happy with the weapon. It was accurate to Halo, fun to use, and performed well for its intended use and stats. The animations for reloading were also well done, in addition to having a one-handed reload was just awesome. One of my favorites to use so far, not only for gameplay purposes, but also for fun and just for looks.
I'm throwing a 500 kilo.
Oh shit. Oh fuck.
The deck!
I tried to run away from it, and when I dove, it was like 3 feet away from me.
The assault rifle is one of the most iconic weapons from Halo, so I was really hoping they'd do it justice, and I would say they did. We would also switch to bots after this testing. I have one complaint, but I'll save that for the end of this segment. For now, let's talk about the good stuff. First and most important, it's medium armor penetration. This alone made it probably my favorite to use in the entire weapon selection in the Warbond. The looks and animations are spot on, and great as with the rest of the weapons in the Warbond. I also like the attention to detail with the ammo counter and the compass, which looks exactly like Halo. It really shows how much love went into the design here. The damage was good, and the recoil was a bit much at times. It's a bit hard to say since Halo really didn't have recoil or bloom until Halo Reach, but considering the bloom in more modern games, the recoil was mostly accurate in Helldivers. I think it could be tuned down a bit, but otherwise, it was pretty spot on. The AR was a blast to use, not only on lower difficulties, but also on the higher ones, as thanks to its meter armor penetration, it stays useful even on the higher difficulties. The AR would consistently take enemies out efficiently, including enemies with a bit more armor, like the armored bugs, or many different types of bots. However, its one biggest weakness is its mag size. It's lore accurate to Halo 3 standards with 32 rounds per mag, so I won't complain for lore accuracy. I found myself needing to resupply it more often than usual while using it, as well as reloading way more often. My only change I would make to this would be to have the same mag size as the Halo Combat Evolved AR, or 60 for those who are unfamiliar. 60 rounds per mag would go a long way in making the AR absolute perfection inside of Helldivers, at least for me.
Killed ya. Oh my god!
The fuck? You have a jump pack?
No! That was funny. You were like, do you have a jump pack? No.
The first person aiming with this weapon in particular was a lot of fun, as it truly feels like playing Halo all over again. Honestly, Helldivers is the best Halo game I've played in a while thanks to this Warbond. Overall, the weapon was perfect when considering its Halo 3 counterpart and its gameplay in Helldivers. My only complaints being the mag size and toning down the recoil a little bit. Other than that, they did the AR the most justice in my opinion. I still felt like the Liberator Penetrator has the upper hand. Obviously, some other Warbond weapons also have the upper hand, but in a vacuum, looking at it just for the Halo Warbond, this was probably my favorite weapon to use so far. The Suppressed Pistol is one of the most satisfying weapons to use in the Halo ODST, and I was hoping it would be fun to use in Helldivers as well. We moved on to the bots for now, so I would be using the pistol on bots and squids later on. I heard some arguments from other Halo fans and people playing Helldivers that since the Magnum in Halo's lore shoots 50 caliber rounds, it should be medium armor penetration instead of light armor penetration. However, I actually disagree a bit here. The suppressed variant here from ODST shoots 12.7 by 40mm, which I feel is closer to light armor penetration over the 50 caliber to medium armor penetration. Not only that, but in gameplay for Halo ODST, which is the only time that the pistol is playable in Halo, it hits like a wet noodle unless you're getting precision shots like a headshot. So I would love medium armor pen just for the sake of fun, but light armor penetration makes more sense here. The mag size is spot on. The damage is actually quite good for a sidearm, and I found myself surprised with how fast it could take down some enemies. The animations are amazing and satisfying to see every time. I am a bit biased for pistol reloads though, as they just look so clean. The iron sights in first person are kind of bad actually. At least to me. It's a bit hard to see most of the time, so I just stuck to third person aiming when using this. The tactical laser is also a nice touch. The sound design is quite nice, and it's similar to the SMG in that it's unique to Helldivers, but carries the same aesthetic that's not always nice to hear. I had fun infiltrating outposts quietly with the pistol and doing a little bit of espionage, sort of GoldenEye playstyle. So overall, I would say the pistol was similar to the AR in that it was done justice and it's pretty spot on. I actually have no complaints with this one. I guess overall theme here for these weapons is that they're well done and accurate for the most part. The issue is they just aren't that great when you compare them to other Warbonds and weapons in the game. I'm going to go over the armor really quick here, then move over to the higher difficulty missions for these weapons. The armor in the Warbond looks fantastic and it's spot on in terms of looks from Halo ODST. The issue here is the armor passive is kinda lackluster. It's medium armor, which makes sense and I have no issue with that. The passive, however, is called Feet First. I have a few issues or ideas to rework this. Starting off, making 50% less noise. This is fine. I don't think this needs to be removed or changed. ODSTs are elite troopers and they have covert operations. Having a stealth element makes sense and it's pretty thematic. So I don't really have any issues with that. The second one, which is increases your POI detection range. This is just okay. It's not entirely useful, but it's sort of accurate, and while it may not be the most useful in Helldivers, it makes sense for ODSTs in Halo, I guess. I wouldn't mind exchanging this out, but it's okay to stay. The third is immunity to leg injury. Okay, there was fall damage in ODST, and it could actually defeat you, so it's alright in terms of lore accuracy, but gameplay-wise, it's not that helpful, and I would have preferred something else. So overall, the armor passive is pretty mid in my opinion. It's niche and unhelpful for most missions, unless you like to play very stealthy all the time. I have a couple possible reworks of this passive, or some ideas to keep this passive and build onto it, or just separate it altogether. So my first option for a rework was to keep the Feet First passive on the Dare set, or the blue one, and give a new passive to the standard ODST armor with something like increased throwables, stims, and or ammo. ODSTs are usually only used in extremely dire or important situations. Them being extra stocked could make sense depending on the mission and would offer a powerful passive in Helldivers. Another effect that could build onto that or be a replacement would be movement speed. Increasing the overall movement speed while still getting the benefits of medium armor would be thematic and it would be useful in gameplay. Something like increasing stamina as well as stamina regen, or possibly increasing movement speed while crouched and prone, would be cool. My second option for reworking this passive would be to keep the Feet First passive on both the armor sets from the Warbond, but add on top of it with the new effects, such as the ammo or movement speed. It could also be a lot, so maybe removing the POI detection range could help with that. That way you could keep the stealth espionage-esque aesthetic while still keeping the Halo Elite Trooper aesthetic on top of it. The third option I had as an idea would be to double down on the Feet First passive, something like increasing the noise reduction from 50% to 80%, and increasing the POI detection range to 50% instead of 30%. Then preventing leg injuries as usual, but adding an immunity to arm injuries as well as preventing bleed out from chest injuries. The passive would fit in what's already in the game, and it wouldn't be hard to fix, and while it still wouldn't be amazing or anything, it would help to make it a bit better. In terms of fun factor, I love using this armor. It looks amazing and I'll probably keep using it just for looks despite it not being that good. From there, we switched to Illuminate for our difficulty 8 missions to test the weapons on a higher difficulty.
Your hands up. No. Well, why not? I don't want to. But I have a gun. I don't care.
I tested the SMG and Pistol first, which it might have been just because we were fighting the Illuminate and they don't have very many enemies with heavy armor, but the SMG and Pistol did really well. They tore through the voteless, and with enough concentrated fire, they took out the Overseers pretty quickly as well. Flesh mobs took a bit, but that's pretty normal. The big issues were harvesters and those jet things, but usually you only use support weapons or stratagems for those anyways. Again, it's probably just because it was the Illuminate, as I think a Charger or a Hulk would put a stop to these weapons rather easily from the other factions. The AR handled itself nicely as well. It has a bit of an edge being medium armor pen, but ultimately I didn't notice a huge difference other than running out of ammo more often. Fighting the squids with the AR definitely felt the most Halo out of the 3 factions, so I guess there's that. Otherwise, it performs similarly to the SMG. It seems similar in efficiency for taking out Overseers and voteless. It was a bit more helpful since I could damage harvesters and the jets a bit easier, but otherwise, it wasn't noticeable enough for me to say one was better than the other. Again, this was probably just because it was the Illuminate. I tried the shotgun next, and it was quite fun against the Illuminate since light armor penetration is more viable. I could take out Overseers decently up close, and better yet, I could stunlock them. My main issue still being the armor penetration, as I think it would go a long way in making the shotgun feel more potent against enemies. It feels like I'm shooting birdshot in some cases rather than an 8-gauge shotgun. Even right up next to enemies, it would take 3 to 4 shots to take down an Overseer. That was my main complaint. Otherwise, it did well against most other things as you'd expect, like voteless, and it did okay against flesh mobs. I felt like the shotgun was more versatile thanks to the round's reload mechanic, but otherwise it felt weaker in terms of damage output.
Why are they attacking the beacon?
Where
that?
fuck?
They're like, fuck the beacon.
So to rank the weapons in terms of how well they are for accuracy to Halo and their performance in Helldivers, I would say the AR is probably my favorite to use and is the most accurate. It's just a shame it wasn't the combat evolved version, so it could have that little bit of extra ammo to make up for its one big weakness. Behind it, I felt the SMG and pistol were tied, as they perfectly carried over from Halo, and they perform exactly as advertised with no real complaints from me. They both get the job done, and they do it well. It's just a shame that there are many other things that outclass both of them in terms of gameplay. In a vacuum, just for the Warbond, they're definitely fun to use and perform well for light armor penetration weapons, and I like to run them a majority of the time. Lastly would be the shotgun, which was a bit of a shame. I felt the shotgun was done a bit dirty by not giving it medium armor penetration. Everything else is perfectly fine. I just wish it had that extra firepower to make it feel like the shotgun from Halo. The ODST and Oni armor would also be low on the list, but since I can't really compare them as they do the exact same thing, aside from just being different cosmetically, I'll just say they aren't that great when you compare them to other armors. Unless you want to look cool or you just like Halo and want to be stealthy, there's no real reason to use them. The other cosmetics are nice, if not a bit lackluster. I would say unless you're a Halo fan or just like the looks of the Warbond, it shouldn't be high on your priority list to grab it, especially since it's the most expensive Warbond in the game at 1500 super credits. If these weapons get a buff or some new stratagems is somehow added into the Warbond, it might be worth chasing it later on in the future. For now, however, you can hold off on it. Since I'm a major Halo fan, I went straight for it, and I will continue to use it even though it's not that great, just because I love Halo and the look of the armor, as well as the weapons. I imagine there are many others who will do the same as me, which is great, honestly. Use what you like, even if it's not meta. Whatever makes the game more fun. With that, I want to thank each and every one of you guys who watched, liked, you name it. You guys are amazing, and I'm truly thankful for all of your support every time. I have some more Helldivers videos coming soon, so if you're interested in that, you shouldn't have to wait too long. I'll probably have some more Soul stuff coming a bit later, and I'll have some spooky games for spooky season. Anyways, I hope you have a good rest of your day, night, evening, whatever time it is wherever you're watching this, and take it easy.